Hi YouTube, it's Aisha, and this is my wrap up for week 2 of January 7th through January 15th. And this is like my fourth attempt to record this. So I read 3 books this week, and I really enjoyed the books that I did read, and I am in the middle of 3 and plan to pick up 2 more. So my goal next week is to at least read 5. So the first book I read this week, was A Christmas Prayer by Kimberla Lawson Roby. And this one takes place in the Curtis Black world, in his universe, because the characters are members of his church that are engaged to be married. So there are a couple that are engaged to be married, and they're just having a tough time. The female character, her mom passed away during the holidays, and she's just not able to be joyful through the holidays. And this is her learning to move beyond the grief. Counseling is talked about in here. Marriage counseling is talked about. Grief counseling. This is a very therapy positive book, and I really enjoyed it. When I was reading it, when I started it, and I realized how petty her future mother-in-law was, I kept saying, I wish a beep would, because let me tell you, it couldn't be me, Jesus. It couldn't be me. So I ended up giving that 4 stars. The second book I read was Beyond Shame, which is book 1 in the Beyond series by Kit Roca. I bought this last month on the recommendation of one of my favorite booktubers. I'll leave a link to her and to her review of the Beyond series. Absolutely enjoyed it. Can't wait to read Dallas and Lexus. I almost said Dex. Oh Lord, that would be their name together though. I ended up giving Beyond Shame 4 stars because it explored so much in sexuality and sensuality, and what makes the act shameful and what makes it beautiful, and the expression of it, and who determines what's wrong and what's not. And I really, really enjoyed that. And I really, really, really found it extremely, extremely erotic. If non-monogamous relationships don't work for you, this is not the one for you. If um, open sexuality and open exploration of sexuality, if BDSM skews you out, this ain't your book, girl. Keep on moving. But it was totally up my alley, and I'll be reading books 2 to 7, I think. Yeah. I will be checking that out. Next one I read was Anytime, Anyplace by Jennifer Probst, which is book 2 in the Billionaire Brothers series. Billionaire. Yeah. I think that's what it's called. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it in the down bar. But I really enjoyed this one. This one starred Raven, who is my kind of girl. She's a bartender. She opened her own restaurant, and she is just really kick-ass. She suffered a really bad tragedy, and she downward spiraled and then stopped herself and brought herself back. And this is her living her life on her own terms. The second person in this book is Dalton Pierce, who is part of the Pierce Brothers construction company and everything that they are. They have an architect section. They flip homes. They have a real estate development. They are just a multifaceted company, and he does woodworking, and he is fascinated by the antique bar that Raven has, and he wants to get his hands on it. And she's not here for it because she knows that getting his hands on her bar isn't just about her bar. And their back and forth is really strong and really wonderful, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. I'm definitely continuing with the series. I've already purchased the first one to read it, and I am dying to check out the rest. There is a novella and another book, and I'm so invested. I really want to know. First of all, the fact that it was taking place in Connecticut made me love it so, so much. I totally thought of it as, if you're from Connecticut, you know where Southport and Westport are. I totally thought of Harrington as those 2 towns meshed together, because the attitude she describes is a perfect description of Westport. And Southport, perfectly described. Um, and I love Raven because she was such a kick-ass character. And the fact that she's a bartender, that's my wheelhouse. I absolutely love characters that are bartenders or servers or work in the restaurant industry in any way, shape, or form. I did that for many years, and I still do it on the side, and I absolutely love it. So reading characters that are in my wheelhouse, makes me love them even more. And I really love the back and forth the two had and the strong connection they had. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. Next, I'll be reading book 2, which is Beyond Control by Kit Roca, which is the second book in the series, duh. And that is Dallas and Lex's story. I'll also be reading this week. I'm finishing up Talk Cowboy to Me by Carolyn Brown because I'm halfway through that book. And Eric Lindenstrom's book, which comes out at the end of the month, which I'm 30% in and loving. And I started it today before I had to go to work. Um, A Tragic Kind of Beautiful by Eric Lindstrom. This is his second book. His debut book was fantastic. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So my goal is to finish those 3. And that's it. I'm really loving where I'm at. I am 355 books left on my challenge. And yeah, I'm 10 books in so far. Yes. So let me know how you're doing on your challenge, and let me know if you've read any of the books that I read this week, and leave it in the down bar. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.